This is part 2 of the painting where I'm challenging myself to make it the most detailed painting I've done. If you've been watching my recent paintings, I've been doing some oil painting projects, and they've been a lot of fun, but I wanted to do one using acrylic again. I find I can do details that are a little bit more small and intricate with the acrylic paints. I'm hoping with oil painting I can get to that point where I can do more detail easily, but I'm still getting used to the way that paint blends, so I wanted to do this one with acrylic. So I left off on the last part where I did most of the first outline, and each time I'm painting, kind of each session, I start with doing some more doodles and more outlines with the Sharpie. I just want to make sure it's really detailed and I don't just start coloring in all the background parts before I do some of those base doodles. So I'm going and doing a bit of that as I start before I put on more colors. I mentioned in part 1 that even after the colors in the background are all done, I want to make sure I'm layering on more and more designs and doodles to make it that detailed. In a lot of my paintings, I'll do it where I have a few kind of doodles and shapes, and then once the paint is on, I'll do a few kind of little aspects where I see it. But with this one, I want to do much more than I thought, or than I usually do, and see how detailed I can do it without it getting crowded. I'm always a little bit worried about overcrowding a painting, but I kind of want to put that to the test and see if I can make this one extremely intricate and detailed. If it's not too overcrowded, then maybe I can keep doing these kinds. Normally in my paintings where I would have a little arrow or path with designs in it, that's usually the amount of detail that I stay with. But with this one, I want to do more from it. So I'm adding a little house from one of those triangles within the arrow, and I just wanted to kind of make it so each part of the painting kind of blends into the other parts and has aspects and doodles that go to a different part of the painting. So you can kind of see it like a map and it just keeps going somewhere else. In the clouds, I'm doing a little cityscape and some kind of cool checkerboard pattern, and I'll probably do a landscape in another one. I just really want it to be where even areas where it's usually just part of a face or part of a shape, I want to go one step further and make those designs within it, and then make the larger details blend into each other. So I'm trying to do a lot of it just kind of unplanned and seeing where it takes me, but I also do want to plan ahead a bit and make sure I kind of set up these doodles in a way that makes sense so it can blend nicely into one big painting, but also they look good and look interesting on their own. I like this brown color and I want to do this little volcano with it, but I want to use it throughout the painting as well. So I'm doing it with this tree and the house. Some I'm going to have darker and layer on some other browns on top of it, and some I want to keep lighter, and I'll know that I'm using other colors on it, so I'm just kind of doing that for now. I'm doing this little kind of house factory building type thing, and I want to use this one as an area where I can blend a lot of colors within it. I thought a black background for it would look good, so I'm doing that. But then I'll probably do the windows something else, and yeah, it's kind of fun just filling in the colors now. And I take this opportunity to also plan forward and see if there's other areas of the painting that look good with another kind of doodle that I have in mind. I like taking a step back sometimes when I'm done painting for the day and see kind of with outside look how the painting's looking, and I find sometimes I'm looking at it and I see there's space or the paint dries in a certain way where I can add a cool design. And sometimes I'll take a photo of it and just add little notes so the next day I know certain things that I want to add to it. Other times, other paintings, I don't do that and I just see how it looks and kind of do things just random. But this one's fun. I like the bright colors in it, and I'm doing some orange. I'm making sure, I mentioned this in some of my other videos, that when I add a color, especially if it's a blended color that might dry up soon and I won't be able to blend the exact same color, I want to use it in different sections. So even if it's a color that I blended for one specific part, I'll use it and then I'll find a few other parts of the painting where I can do it. I like to spread it out so it's not all in one corner or a part. It just makes it look a little bit less random. If I can, I'll try to do it where there's 3 or 5 or 7 of them. I don't know why, but I find that just kind of looks nicer. I always try to do odd numbers when I have a amount of something. So yeah, I'm just going through and adding more of these colors and seeing what pops out, where I need to have darker colors on those details or lighter colors to make them pop. I'm going to be using a good amount of reds in this one as well, probably a good amount of purples too. I think for the reds I want to use 2 different shades. I want to have one darker, kind of more burgundy, and for the purples I want to have a dark purple and one that's kind of brighter. I like doing this, especially if I'm going to do a lot of background colors for it. It just kind of changes the look, and you can use them closer to each other without it clashing or being too much of one. So I like how it's looking so far. It's kind of a cool theme working out from that triangle and seeing what happens out of it. I do want to try one, probably my next one, where I start with a shape in the middle and every design on it needs to touch it and be linked to it at some part. Kind of like if I had that circle and triangle and house and just kept going from all of that. So that'd be kind of cool to try in the future. Now I'm going through and just doing some extra doodles. Like I mentioned, each day that I start painting, I want to start with that just to make it more and more detailed. And usually when I have a fresh set of eyes as well, starting off the day, I can kind of see different spaces that work, and I'll look at it and see that the white space that I left is a good space for a design or an element, or the shape almost made itself. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to go through and do it, or then add more color and just kind of see what happens as the painting naturally progresses. I'm coloring in these little train cars. I want to have one each different color, and I want to make sure I'm keeping in mind what background color that I want for it. I think I want a light blue for this one. I like using the light blue color as a background when it's surrounded by some darker ones. I think it's kind of cool and it makes it pop. Especially with this one, if I go over 2 or 3 times, it looks really cool and almost gives more of that kind of comic feel. There's also a lot that you can do. The light blue is nice because you can add bright colors on top of it and they still pop out. And you can also add dark colors and an outline. So it's kind of a nice one. The possibilities are endless for what kind of doodles and designs and textures you can add on top of it. so I like using that as a background. I also like the brown color for that reason. You can do light on it or dark, and the black outline looks good. Same with the purple and the red, how I'm using different shades. The brown I'll probably use 2 or 3 different shades. Even like that little guitar shape and that little kind of cup at the top corner, they're still kind of brown orange, but different shades. They don't clash when you put them right together. I really want to stay away from adding colors that are right next to each other that are the same. When I first started painting, I did that a few times and it just made the painting look funny, and you kind of had to force another doodle or color on top of it, and sometimes it just looked unnatural. I'm doing like a little road. I thought it'd be kind of cool to do kind of opposite, so having the train on the road and the boat on the train tracks. Sometimes I like doing that, just kind of adding different things to the painting that when you look, you kind of notice it later on. I'm going and doing some with this gray. I want to do this little mountains in the circle, and I wanted to make sure that each one of those sails on the boat have a different color. And I'm going and doing the clouds gray, one of the clouds as well, and I'll probably do a little design on top of that one too. This top corner of the painting is something I definitely want to come back to and add more detail. Sometimes the top part that borders the top of the painting, I don't do as much detail. I don't know why. I think just when I look at a painting, I'm naturally drawn to the middle, and then the bottom left, and then the top right. The top left, I sometimes just leave like a background color with some designs or textures, but I want to make sure I'm not doing that, especially because I have a kind of one area. I have 2 little faces in it with the road in between, but I want to add more to it and maybe see if I can make those faces or doodles kind of blend down into the next parts. So I got to come back to that maybe with fresh eyes and see how that looks. I do like the way that planet and triangle with the little top hats look. I'm going to add a face to that, and I think that's kind of a cool little way of doing it. I always like having a planet in it. And in one of my recent paintings, I did it with a different shape. I tried it with a triangle and it kind of looked cool. So I did a diamond for this one. I like the gray and the burgundy together. I think it looks nice. So that's what I did up there. I wanted to do this face in this kind of right corner of the painting, different colors, and the burgundy and the brown go well together. So I'm doing that because I'm going to add brown to it to the side, and then on top of the burgundy, I'm going to add the gray. Same thing with the planet in the top corner. I think these 2 colors blend well, so that's what I'm doing. Probably going to end this part here. I want to make sure the parts are long enough, but also not too long that they drag on. So thank you for watching, and I'll be posting the next part soon.